The hall was cold and wide, built from stone that did not belong to Earth. Strange green fire burned in tall lamps, throwing long shadows across the floor. Dozens of alien eyes watched from the higher seats, whispering in their sharp, clicking language. And in the middle of that hall stood one man. A human. A soldier. His name was not shouted, nor was it honored here. To these aliens he was only the subject. He stood tall anyway, his boots echoing each time he shifted his weight. His uniform was torn, his face bruised. Yet his eyes carried something the aliens did not expect. Calm defiance. Two heavy doors opened at the far side of the chamber. Guards with armor made of bone dragged in two chained women. They were not human. One had silver skin that shimmered under the green fire, her eyes glowing like molten gold. The other was taller, her skin a deep blue with lines across her face that pulsed like rivers of light. Both women were bound with black chains that hissed as though alive. The crowd went silent. Even the fire seemed to dim. The judge, a towering alien with a crown of horns, raised his voice. His words were translated through a mechanical voice box, cold and sharp. Human. You stand before the tribunal. You are given one command. Choose. The man's eyes narrowed. Choose what? The judge's teeth flashed. Choose one of these prisoners to live. The other dies. The words fell heavy in the chamber. The alien crowd hissed with excitement. They loved this game, forcing impossible choices, watching humans bend or break. The two women looked at the man. The silver-skinned one glared, her eyes full of pride even in chains. The blue one tilted her head, curious as if testing him. Neither begged. Neither spoke. The man's heartbeat slowed, but his mind raced. He saw the setup. This was not about mercy. This was about control. They wanted him to obey. To show weakness. To kneel. The judge's voice boomed again. Choose now, human. Or both will die. A murmur rippled through the alien seats. They leaned forward, waiting, hungry. The man breathed in slowly. Every soldier's instinct told him to analyze. Two unknown alien species, both dangerous, both important enough to chain here. Why were they enemies? Why was he dragged into this test? And most of all, what did these overlords fear so much that they needed him to choose? He looked at the women again. Their chains rattled as the guards shoved them forward. The gold-eyed woman's lips curled in hate. The blue-skinned one gave a strange, calm smile, as if she already knew the outcome. The man straightened his back. He raised his chin and spoke, his voice steady, echoing across the hall. I will not choose. The crowd gasped. Some laughed, others jeered. The judge slammed his clawed hand against the stone. You will choose. This is law. The human's mouth twitched into something between a smirk and a challenge. His voice dropped lower, but every ear caught it. No, he said. I'll take them both. The silence that followed was thick as a storm. The guards froze, unsure if they should laugh or strike. The alien spectators whispered, their voices sharp with disbelief. Never before had a subject answered this way. Never had one looked the tribunal in the eye and refused. The judge's crown of horns lowered, his massive form leaning forward. You dare break command? You dare mock the tribunal? The human held his gaze. His hands clenched at his sides, but his voice did not shake. I'm not mocking you. I'm giving you my answer. Both live. That's final. The gold-eyed prisoner blinked, surprise cracking through her anger. The blue-skinned one let out a soft laugh, chains rattling as she shifted. For the first time, both women looked at him not as an executioner, but as something else. Something dangerous. The judge roared, his voice shaking the chamber. Then you defy us, human. You bring ruin upon yourself. The crowd screamed with excitement. Guards moved, weapons raised. The fire in the lamps flared bright, painting the walls in green fury. Still, the human did not flinch. Better ruin, he said quietly, than obedience. The words echoed, carried across the alien chamber like a blade. They were simple words, but they carried a weight that none of the creatures here could ignore. The alien overlords had seen humans bleed, beg, and break. But they had never seen one choose this way. The judge raised a clawed hand, ready to give the kill order. But the human stance was firm, his eyes locked on both chained women. In that moment he was no prisoner. He was no test subject. He was something else entirely, and the tribunal realized, this choice had just become something far greater. Breaking the rules, the chamber did not erupt in violence immediately. For a heartbeat, everything froze. Even the green flames seemed to pause, as if the fire itself was waiting to see what would happen. The man's words still hung in the air, I'll take them both. The alien crowd broke first. They howled with laughter, the sound sharp like metal scraping stone. Some slapped their clawed hands against the seats, others hissed insults in languages too ancient for human ears. To them this was madness. No one disobeyed the tribunal, but the man did not laugh. He stood still, his eyes never leaving the judge. The judge's chest expanded, his rib-like armor glowing with faint light. His voice was low and dangerous. Human, your kind is weak because it obeys rules only when it fears punishment. Yet here you stand refusing command. You insult the tribunal. The man tilted his head slightly, his jaw tight. I don't follow your rules. Not today. Not ever. Gasps filled the chamber. The judge raised a hand and the guards reacted instantly. Their weapons extended, long black spears that hummed with energy. They surrounded the human, forming a cage of deadly points. The silver-skinned woman's golden eyes widened. She whispered something in her own tongue, a sound like broken glass. The blue-skinned woman, in contrast, grinned faintly, as if she had expected this exact moment. The man's eyes flicked between the guards. He saw their stances, the weight of their spears, the slight shake in one guard's hand. Soldiers, yes, but soldiers too confident. Too sure the human was already beaten. Last chance, the judge thundered. Pick one life, or lose your own. The man's lips curled in a half-smile. Funny. You think my life is yours to take. And then he moved. It was not a wild attack. It was sharp, precise, faster than the guards expected from a bruised human prisoner. He ducked under the nearest spear, his shoulder slamming into the guard's chest. The alien stumbled back, the spear clattering against the stone floor. The crowd roared, half in shock, half in bloodlust. Another guard lunged. The human caught the spear shaft, twisting hard. Energy burned across his palms, but he didn't let go. With one brutal jerk, he spun the weapon out of the guard's hands and turned it against him. The alien crashed to the ground, chains rattling as the two prisoners flinched back from the chaos. For the first time, the judge's eyes narrowed with interest. The silver-skinned woman's chains glowed brighter, sensing the violence. She stared at the human, confusion in her expression. Why would a human risk everything, for both of them? The blue-skinned woman laughed again, low and sharp. Yes, she whispered to herself. This one is dangerous. The remaining guards tightened their circle. The man spun the stolen spear in his hands, chest heaving. He had no plan beyond this moment. He had no allies but the two chained strangers behind him. Yet his stance was steady, his eyes sharp. The judge leaned forward. His teeth gleamed in the green fire. Interesting. You fight for them both. But they are enemies. Their blood has never mixed except in war. Do you think they will thank you, human? Do you think they will follow you? The man didn't answer right away. He kept his eyes locked on the advancing guards, but his words were clear and cold. I don't care if they thank me. I care that they live. Silence struck the crowd like a hammer. The words carried weight, more weight than any alien expected. The guards lunged again. The man struck, parried, dodged. Each move was raw survival, but also something more. A refusal to kneel. A refusal to play the tribunal's game. And as the clash filled the chamber, both prisoners stared at him, each shaken in her own way. The silver one thought, why would a human fight against the tribunal itself for me? The blue one thought, if he lives through this, perhaps I chose the wrong enemy all along. The judge finally rose from his throne, his massive form towering over all. His voice thundered through the chamber, then let the humans will be tested. If he wants them both, he must earn them both. The floor trembled. New doors opened. From the shadows came something larger, darker, more deadly than the guards. The real test had only just begun. The escape sparked, the ground shook as the doors split open. From the shadows stepped a beast that was no ordinary guard. This creature had been built for fear. Its skin was armored in black plates that glistened under the green fire. 4 legs carried its massive body, claws scraping sparks against stone. Its head split into 3 jaws, each lined with rows of blades that dripped with poison. The air itself seemed to bend around its roar. The alien crowd howled in excitement. This was what they had come for. Not justice. Not law. Blood. The man gripped the stolen spear tighter. His chest burned from earlier blows, his knuckles raw, but his eyes locked on the monster. He did not blink. The judge's voice rolled like thunder. You want them both? Survive this. Kill the beast and you may walk away alive. Fail, and you all die together. The chained women stiffened. The silver-skinned one's golden eyes widened, not in fear but recognition. She knew this creature. Her people called it a bone-eater. No one had ever tamed one. No one had ever fought one and lived. The blue-skinned woman's smile faded. Even her pride bent beneath the sight. Still, her gaze flicked back to the human. Curious. Watching. The beast lunged, its claws tore grooves into the stone floor, its 3 jaws snapping. The spear vibrated in the man's hands as he braced. At the last second, he dove sideways, the creature's bite smashing into the floor where he had stood. Stone shattered like glass. The human rolled, came up to his knees and thrust the spear. Sparks flew as it glanced off the monster's armored hide. Too thick. Too strong. The weapon wouldn't pierce. The crowd laughed, certain this was the end, but the human's mind raced. Soldiers did not survive by strength alone. They survived by seeing what others missed. His eyes scanned the beast. Its armor had plates, yes, but between those plates tiny gaps. Weak points. Another lunge. Another dodge. He slammed the butt of the spear into one of those gaps, testing. The creature roared in fury, stumbling for a heartbeat. It wasn't much, but it was something. The man smirked through bloodied lips. So you bleed after all. The crowd fell quieter. They had seen humans fight before, but not like this. Not with stubborn fire in their eyes. The chained prisoners leaned forward. The silver woman's eyes narrowed, her pride battling with a spark of respect. The blue woman whispered under her breath, words her language had no direct translation for. This one does not break. The beast circled now, learning. Its jaws dripped venom on the floor, the stone sizzling where drops landed. The smell burned the man's throat that he could not fight forever. His muscles ached, his lungs burned. He needed an edge. Then he saw it. The chains, the women's bindings glowed with alien energy, alive and twitching. The guards had been careless, too busy watching the fight to notice. The chains pulsed in rhythm with the flames. Energy flowed through them, raw, unstable. If broken, that energy might. The man's lips curved. Dangerous plan. Risky. But soldiers survived on risky. Another lunge. This time he didn't dodge far. He let the beast's claw strike close enough that the spear snapped in half under the force. The crowd screamed in delight at the sight of the broken weapon. Surely now the human was finished. But he didn't look at the crowd. He didn't look at the judge. He looked at the women. You want to live? He shouted, voice raw but clear. Then trust me. Just once. The silver woman's eyes flashed. She hesitated, pride locking her throat. The blue woman, however, tilted her head, chains rattling as she leaned forward. Do it, she whispered. The man grabbed the broken spear tip. Sparks burned his hands, blood slicking his palms. He sprinted toward the chained women, the beast roaring behind him. At the last second, he jammed the spear into the energy lock of the nearest chain. The hall exploded with light. The chain screamed like a living thing, then shattered into shards of black metal. Energy lashed out, striking the floor and walls, frying 2 guards where they stood. The silver-skinned woman staggered free, eyes wide with shock and fury, but also power. Her hands glowed, her skin shimmering brighter than before. The crowd went silent. No one had ever freed a prisoner. The beast roared again, turning toward them. The man stood in front, chest heaving, weaponless now. Behind him, the freed woman flexed her glowing hands, golden fire sparking from her fingertips. And for the first time since the trial began, the human was not standing alone. The unlikely alliance, the chamber still glowed with sparks from the shattered chains. Smoke curled in the air, guards lay dead against the walls, and the alien crowd had gone silent. No one had ever seen this. A human, defying the tribunal, breaking their rules, freeing a prisoner. The silver-skinned woman stood taller now, her body alive with energy. Gold light pulsed from her veins like liquid fire. Her chains still clung to her wrists in fragments, but they no longer bound her. She looked at the human with narrowed eyes, her voice sharp. You freed me. Why? He did not turn to her. His eyes stayed locked on the monster, which crouched low, preparing another strike. His chest rose and fell in ragged breaths. Because I said both live. And I keep my word. The woman stared at him, torn between anger and something she did not want to admit. Respect. The beast roared again, shaking the chamber. The crowd screamed for blood, their voices rising like a storm. The judge's voice thundered over them all. Enough games. Finish him, beast. Tear them apart. The monster lunged, the human braced himself, but this time he wasn't alone. The silver woman stepped forward. Her golden light burst outward, slamming into the beast's armored chest. The creature howled, skidding across the stone floor. The crowd gasped. The human blinked, surprised. He glanced at her, but she didn't meet his eyes. Instead, she hissed under her breath, Do not think this means I owe you. The blue-skinned woman laughed, even as her chains rattled. Oh, this grows interesting. The fire princess saves the human? Truly the stars play tricks tonight. The man shot her a sharp look. Princess. The silver woman's golden eyes snapped to him, fury in her voice. Do not speak that word. But it was too late. The human understood now. She wasn't just anyone. She was someone the aliens wanted erased. Someone whose survival could tip entire star systems into war. The judge's expression tightened. His silence spoke louder than words. The human's jaw set. He had been dragged into something larger than he realized. This wasn't about punishment. It was about removing pieces from the galactic chessboard. Another roar cut through his thoughts. The beast, though wounded, lunged again. The human dove, rolling across the floor, grabbing the broken spear shaft once more. The silver woman's light flared as she blasted the monster back a second time. But her glow dimmed quickly. The energy chains had drained her strength. She stumbled, nearly falling. The human caught her arm, steadying her. Her eyes burned with shame and anger, but she didn't pull away. You're not at full strength, he said, voice low. I don't need strength to kill, she snapped. The blue-skinned woman clapped her chained hands together, smirking. How romantic. The fire princess and the foolish human. But what of me? Do I stay chained while you both die? The man's eyes flicked to her. He remembered the way her chains pulsed with unstable energy. He remembered her calm smile when he first declared, I'll take them both, that he made his choice in a single breath. He sprinted toward her, grabbed the spearhead, and jammed it into her lock. Another explosion of light ripped through the chamber. Blue fire surged outward, blinding the crowd, burning across the stone. When the smoke cleared, the second woman stood free. Her body glowed with shifting rivers of light across her skin, her eyes like frozen stars. She inhaled deeply, her power spilling into the air. The crowd erupted in panic. The tribunal had never allowed both to be freed. Never. This trial had turned into rebellion before their very eyes. The judge roared, his horns glowing. Stop them. Kill the human. Kill them all. Guards poured into the chamber. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Spears crackled with energy, boots slammed on stone. The beast roared again, charging, and for the first time in history the human stood with not one, but two heirs of rival alien clans, both powerful, both furious, both chained by destiny but now free. The silver woman's voice was sharp with warning. You do not understand what you've done, human. By freeing us both, you have started a war. The blue woman smiled, eyes burning bright. Or perhaps, she said softly, he has ended one. The human tightened his grip on the broken spear, eyes steady, heart pounding. Either way, he said, we're not dying here. The three of them turned, side by side, as the guards and beast closed in. The crowd screamed. The chamber shook. And in that moment, an unlikely alliance was born. An alliance that was never meant to exist. The rising threat the chamber was fire and chaos. Guards shouted in panic, the beast roared in blind rage, and the crowd stampeded toward the exits, their excitement finally tipping into fear. Through the smoke and screaming, the human stood between the two freed women. His grip on the broken spear was tight, though he knew it was nothing against what was coming. The judge's voice cut through the madness, louder than the monster itself. Seal the halls. Release the hunters. The human has chosen war, then war he shall have. The walls themselves groaned. Huge black shutters began to fall across the exits, sealing them in. From hidden tunnels, fresh squads of armored guards poured out, their weapons glowing with killing light. The silver-skinned woman's gold aura flared again, blasting a wave of heat across the floor. Dozens of guards fell screaming, armor melting against their skin. But she stumbled right after, dropping to one knee. Too much power used too soon. The blue-skinned woman caught her arm, steadying her, though her smile never faded. Careful, fire princess. Burn too brightly and you vanish. The human's jaw clenched. He scanned the chamber, no escape. Not yet. They needed a crack, a spark, one chance. The beast roared and charged again, claws tearing stone apart. The human threw himself sideways, yanking the blue woman with him. The silver woman, weakened, barely rolled clear. The beast smashed into a wall, collapsing part of the chamber. Dust rained down. The human coughed, eyes watering, mind racing. He wasn't just fighting for his life anymore. He was standing between two rival powers, two heirs who had never stood side by side until now. He didn't know why, but a deep soldier's instinct whispered, "This is bigger than me. This is history cracking open." The judge raised both clawed hands. His voice thundered like a storm. "Across the stars let it be known. A human has defied the tribunal. He has stolen the lives of 2 forbidden heirs. He is outlawed. He is marked. All who see him, kill him." The words weren't just shouted to the chamber. The walls glowed, broadcasting the decree through the tribunal's networks, sending his image and the 2 women's faces across the stars. A bounty. A manhunt. A sentence of death. The human's face hardened as he realized he wasn't fighting just guards anymore. He was fighting the galaxy itself. The silver woman spat on the ground, eyes blazing. "Fool. Do you understand? My clan will burn worlds to reclaim me. Hers will do worse. And now every mercenary, every hunter, every soldier will hunt us, because of you." The blue woman tilted her head, her smile curling sharper. "No. Because of him, the galaxy trembles. That makes him dangerous, and that makes him useful." The human wiped blood from his mouth, voice low and steady. "Argue later. Right now we move." The chamber shook again. One of the collapsing walls opened a crack, revealing a service tunnel beneath. Smoke and dust cloaked it, but it was a way out. The human grabbed the silver woman's arm, then the blues, dragging them both toward the gap. Guards charged after them. The beast roared and lunged, jaws snapping. The man spun at the last second, slamming the broken spearhead straight into the beast's wounded joint. The monster howled in pain, crashing sideways into the guards, crushing them under its massive weight. The human didn't wait to see if it rose again. He shoved both women into the tunnel, diving after them just as the wall above collapsed completely, sealing the chamber. Darkness swallowed them. For a moment, only their ragged breaths filled the tunnel. Then faint lights flickered in the walls, emergency runes glowing faint blue, leading deeper underground. The silver woman tore her arm free, her voice sharp and bitter. "You've doomed us all. Do you understand? You've set fire to an empire." The human turned, his eyes meeting hers, calm even in the shadows. "No. I've given you both a choice. And maybe for once, you don't have to die for someone else's war." The blue woman laughed softly, her voice echoing down the tunnel. "Oh human, you have no idea what you've started. But I think I like it." Above them, the judge's roar echoed faint through the stone. "Run human. Run as far as you can. The hunters will find you." None escaped the tribunal. And somewhere far beyond this world, signals spread like fire across the stars. Mercenaries, assassins, soldiers of fortune, all hearing the same call. The hunt had begun. Turning the tables, the tunnel stretched for miles, a web beneath the alien city. The human led the way, moving with the steady calm of a soldier used to dark paths. Behind him, the 2 freed heirs followed. One silent and furious, the other amused and watching. The silver-skinned woman broke the silence first. Her golden eyes burned in the dim light. "You should have left me. You should have left her. You don't understand the storm you've brought on your species." The human didn't turn. "Storms don't scare me. Dying chained while someone else makes the rules, that scares me." The blue-skinned woman chuckled, her voice like flowing water. Listened to him. So bold. So stubborn. Almost like one of us, but not. The man glanced back, his eyes sharp. "Not one of you. Never will be. That's why you're both still alive." For a moment they were silent again. But as they moved deeper, faint vibrations shook the walls. The hunt had begun. Distant howls. Metal scraping. Heavy boots echoing through the stone. They weren't running alone anymore. They were being tracked. The silver woman hissed. "Hunters. They're releasing them already." The man paused, pressing a hand against the wall. His soldier's instincts sharpened. Yes, there it was. A low hum. Movement above. The hunters weren't random. They were organized. And fast. The tribunal wasn't wasting time. The blue woman tilted her head, almost delighted. "Do you feel it? They want our blood so badly. It is almost flattering." The human's jaw tightened. "Then let's give them a taste. Just not the way they expect." He scanned the tunnel. Old, crumbling stone. Support beams cracked. Pipes leaking faint mist. Weak structure. He filed it all away in his mind. Soldiers didn't win by playing fair. They won by turning ground, shadow, and fear into weapons. Moments later, shadows appeared at the tunnel's edge. Alien hunters, tall and sleek, with masks shaped like skulls and blades curved like crescent moons. They moved silently, faster than most eyes could follow. The human crouched low. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Stay close. Stay quiet. When I move, move." The silver woman bristled. "You think to command me? Do you want to live?" he asked flatly. Her glare could have burned stone. But she didn't argue. The first hunter entered the tunnel. His mask glowed faint green, scanning the air. He did not see the human pressed into the shadows above, clinging to the cracked support beams. He did not see the broken spear haft sharpened into a blade. The human dropped like a stone. One strike, silent, straight through the weak point under the hunter's chin. The body hit the ground without a sound. The other hunters hissed, their blades flashing up. But the human was already moving, dragging the corpse into the shadows, kicking over a cracked support beam. The tunnel groaned, and then collapsed. Stone thundered down, crushing 3 hunters instantly, sealing the path behind. Dust filled the air. The human pulled the women through a side passage as the rest of the hunters screamed, trapped under the rubble. The silver woman's eyes widened. You planned that? The man shrugged, wiping dust from his face. Not planned. Noticed. That's enough. The blue woman's smile widened, sharp and dangerous. Oh yes, I see it now. This is why they fear your kind. You turn every weakness into a blade. The human said nothing, only kept moving. His heart pounded, but not from fear, from something else. For the first time, the hunters had felt it, not prey but predator. As they emerged into a larger chamber, the alien city stretched above through grated vents, towers of steel and fire, skies lit with ships searching for them. The tribunal's voice echoed again, broadcast across every screen, every loudspeaker. The human is marked. His allies are enemies of order. Their capture is worth kingdoms. Their death is worth more. Bounty hunters, soldiers, mercenaries. Every ear across the city and beyond had heard the call. The silver woman's face was grim. You've made yourself the most wanted being in the galaxy. The human looked up at the alien towers, his eyes cold but alive with fire. Good. That means they'll all come to me. And when they do, I'll show them what a human really is. The blue woman's laugh rang out, echoing across the stone. Yes. Now the hunt becomes a game. And I think the human means to win. Above them, ships screamed through the skies. Below, more hunters poured into the tunnels. The walls shook with the tribunal's fury, and yet in the heart of that storm, the human stood calm, already turning the galaxy's hunt into his battlefield. The hunted were becoming hunters. The final choice. The sky burned with ships. From the towers of the alien city, engines roared, searchlights cut through the clouds, and hunters moved like shadows across every rooftop. And in the center of it all, on the tribunal's high platform, the human stood once more, dragged back in chains, beaten but unbroken. He faced the same judge who had ordered him to choose. Only now the stage was different. The 2 alien heirs stood beside him. Free, alive, their powers glowing like suns ready to rise. The judge's crown of horns glistened as he rose. His voice was thick with fury. You have run. You have killed. You have brought fire upon my tribunal. But all ends the way it began. Choose human. One life. One death. Or your kind will suffer across the stars. The crowd, thousands this time, not dozens, fell silent. Even the hunters who had captured him leaned forward, waiting for the answer. The silver-skinned heir looked at him, her pride still hard as steel. If you pick me, my clan will crush hers. You save worlds that way. The blue-skinned heir tilted her head, smiling sharp. And if you pick me, my people will shatter hers. You bring peace through strength. Both stared at him. Both waiting. Both certain he would finally break and bow to survival's logic. The human lifted his head. His face was bruised, bloodied, but his eyes were alive with fire. He looked at the judge. Then at the heirs. Then at the galaxy staring down at him. No, he said. His voice rang like iron. I won't choose between them. I choose neither death. I choose both life. The crowd erupted in chaos. Some screamed, others laughed in disbelief, others howled for blood. The judge slammed a claw into the platform, stone cracking beneath his strength. Then you choose war. You choose extinction. The human stepped forward, the chains rattling around his wrists. No. You fear something more than war. You fear unity. You fear that if enemies stand together, your power crumbles. That's why you chain them. That's why you made me choose. You wanted to keep them divided. You wanted to prove humans obey. His voice rose now, echoing across the plaza, carried on every broadcast channel the tribunal owned. But I am human. And humans don't kneel. We don't obey tyrants. We make our own choices. The heirs froze, his words striking deeper than blades. For the first time they looked at each other, not with hate but with the faint, dangerous spark of something else. The judge roared. Seize him. Guards surged forward. Hunters drew their blades. But the silver heir's golden fire flared, sweeping the guards aside. The blue heir's rivers of light burned, cutting through hunters like paper. And together, side by side, they unleashed power not against each other, but against the tribunal itself. The human ripped his chains apart in the blast. The platform shattered. The judge bellowed in fury as the airs rose, their energy entwining for the first time in history. And at the center of it all stood the human, no longer prisoner, no longer pawn. Something far worse to the tribunal, a symbol. The tribunal's voice shook with rage. You think you have won? You have begun a war that will drown your kind. The human's reply was calm, steady, unshaken. Then let it come. Because now you're not facing clans. You're facing us. And we don't break. The heirs turned, their eyes burning as they finally, reluctantly, nodded. The Fire Princess and the Star Daughter, rivals, enemies, now standing together, bound by a choice a human had forced into existence. The galaxy watched in silence as the impossible happened. Two ancient bloodlines united. And it began not with armies, not with treaties, but with a single human soldier refusing to bow. The final choice had been made, and nothing in the stars would ever be the same again.